Hello, everyone. This is Suzanne at The Gospel Truth. Today is Friday, March 7th, and we are in our second book, Master Powder and the Mountain of Fire. And a lot of you are very excited about this next book, and it will be as exciting, if not more, than the first book, because we're going to continue to grow in the Lord as we read this book. Okay. Settings and characters. I think it's important that we go over that first. Setting and characters in this section. Kedem, the land of earthen vessels. Comfort Cove, a quaint 19th century fishing village. The Potter's House, Master Potter's home overlooking Comfort Cove. Mountain of Fire, a mountain kiln deep within the Formidable Mountain Range. Formidable Mountains, a rugged mountain range behind the Potter's House. Precarious Pass, a dangerous pass to the Mountain of Fire. Cavern of the Ancient Mysteries, a demonic stronghold hidden in the Formidables. Deeper Life, a religious commune in the wilderness. Gates of Heaven, Throne Room, War Room, a strategic command center. Heavenly Library, records of the past, present, and future. Miracles Unlimited, a heavenly warehouse. Heavenly Courtroom, the judgment seat. Major characters, and we've met a lot of these. Father in Heaven, Master Potter / Bridegroom King. Holy Spirit / Amazing Grace. Satan, Death, Suicide. Beloved, formerly forsaken, a pitcher. Purity, formerly promiscuous, beloved's daughter, a mug. Comrade, formerly friendless, a mug in beloved's set. Beloved's friends, long-suffering, a tall, willowy vase. Harvester, a large canister. Sweet adoration, a delicate perfume bottle. Fearless, a wine carafe. Joyful, a wine goblet in Fearless's set. Golden incense, a teapot. Tender-hearted, a saucer in golden incense set. Blessing, a saucer in golden incense set. Steadfast, a large serving platter. Beloved, teams of mugs. Comrade, purity, loyalty, generosity, confidence, self-assurance, devotion, champion, mercy, and kindness. Formidable Mountain Range. Watchman, the guide for the pottery wagons. Elder, the wagon master. Comfort Cove. Master craftsman, the potter from Comfort Cove. Madam False Destiny, a spiritualist and owner of the inn. Major Lecherous, the village's mayor. Pastor Compromise, the pastor of the country club church. Pastor Beguiler, retired pastor of Deep Life Commune. Angels. Valiant, beloved's guardian angel. Exhorter, long-suffering's guardian angel. Gallant, purity's guardian angel. Courageous, comrade's guardian angel. Rembrandt and Angelo, artistic angels. Guardian of the glory, beloved's heavenly guide. Demons, fire chief, fear of man, law and order, religious ritual, sickness and disease, and lust. Okay, those are all the characters and the places. All right, recap from book 1. Master Potter. Let me get my drink ready. I'm going to read until my voice can't do it no more. It's a little raspy, but it's not bad. I feel so refreshed this morning. I got up, I think around 11:30 or so, and I did a few things. Took a nice hot shower. Oh, it felt so good. Oh, it felt so good. And so yeah, I'm all set now to settle in and do our reading for today. Recap from book 1. Let's go. I don't know why my mouth is dry all of a sudden. Some of these medications I take do that. Much better. Have you ever experienced the deep grief of brokenness? Has your life been ruined by wrong choices, shame, and regret? Yeah, mine has. I think yours probably has too. If so, you will love this allegorical tale. Prepare to fall in love with a broken pitcher and her friends, a charming teapot, a courageous wine carafe, a boisterous canister, a squatty mug, a forlorn vase, and others that will enchant and disarm you in a genuinely delightful way. One of the most powerful biblical images describing the relationship of God and humanity is that of the potter and the clay. God created us as earthenware vessels, so we would realize our weakness and call out to Him. Each of our journey takes us through much joy and pain, but no person or situation is beyond hope. Master Potter vividly portrays the truth that no one is too broken to be healed and used by God. There is no situation He can't redeem. He is the God of the second and third chances and passionately loves all His vessels. Each one is a beautiful, unique piece of art designed before the foundation of the world and fashioned by His loving hands. He delights in us all. Master Potter vividly portrays the truth that no one is too broken to be healed and used by God. Okay, I just read that. Okay, this charming allegorical tale takes place in Kedem, the land of earthen vessels. A young woman named Forsaken, portrayed as a broken clay pitcher, dwells in a quaint 19th century fishing village called Comfort Cove. If you've ever felt abandoned and alone, surely you will understand Forsaken's story. Her mother died when she was young, and she grew up with an alcoholic father. She never really had a family and never felt as though she belonged. The brokenness of her need and confusion of her hurt led to making all the wrong life choices. She did the wrong things, went to the wrong places, was with the wrong men, and ultimately ended up in the wrong marriage. The journey begins. Shattered by betrayal, abuse, and loneliness, Forsaken finds herself discarded in the heap trash of a loveless existence. Out of that brokenness and despair, this wounded pitcher, who could be you or me, meets Master Potter, the lover of her soul, her creator. He changes her name from Forsaken to Beloved. Through a long and often difficult process, her utter despair is transformed into wonderful joy and fulfillment. Come with her and enter into a love that she thought was only possible for others, but never for her. The Potter's Wheel. Master Potter takes her to his house, where he begins the long, painful progress of making her into a vessel of honor. Because of her cracks and chips, he must start all over again. She is crushed and must soak in the healing pools of his love to become soft and pliable clay once again. She learns to trust him and yields to his gentle hands as he reshapes her into a beautiful picture on the Potter's Wheel. Remember that Master Potter is an artist and the designer of your life too. He knows what kind of vessel you are. You are, and your kind of vessel you are, your unique shape, beautiful colors, and wonderful destiny. He knows every detail of your life. Nothing is hidden from God. The wilderness. Taken from the Potter's Wheel, Beloved is then placed on the shelf to dry. It's there she starts on a wilderness journey to learn to follow Holy Spirit, but her path is diverted when she takes what she thinks is an easy way out and marries a seemingly godly man. In attempting this shortcut to happiness, she ends up losing 10 years, her husband, and her children. Have you, like Beloved, exhausted yourself struggling to get out of your barren, dry wilderness? Excuse me. Okay. I just put some perfume on, and now my nose is like, wow. Overdid it a little bit there, but okay. Bruised, bloodied, and an emotional wreck, she resumes following Holy Spirit to the tent of the Lord. She is warmly embraced by Master Potter, who has longed for her the entire time she was away. Entering the refiner's fire. Beloved and her friends entered the kiln for their first firing. Master Potter gently walks her through forgiveness toward those who abused her in the past as the fire raged around her. Do you dream of having your heart reawakened and being able to love again? When the refiner's fire is over the kiln, when the refiner's fire is over, the kiln is opened, and the vessels are surprised to find that they need to be glazed and go through more intense firing in a hideous mountain kiln, the dreaded mountain of fire, before they become beautiful vessels of honor and fulfill their destinies. Master Potter and the Mountain of Fire. Becoming a vessel of honor is a painful process that requires dying to self. In Master Potter and the Mountain of Fire, Beloved discovers this high price as well as unexpected joy. Hidden in this delightful story of believable characters lies the powerful truth that is authentic love can transform your life. Come along on this journey into the inner recesses of the heart. There's far more than you ever hoped for in your relationship with God. He wants to fill your heart's desire and draw you into a safe, intimate love relationship. If you long to go deeper with God, then accompany Beloved into the higher fires inside the Mountain of Fire. Okay, part 1, the glazing room. And this now will begin chapter 1. Are you excited? All right, I am too. All right, get a cup of tea, coffee, maybe a couple of cookies, graham crackers, and sit back and relax. And now we're ready to begin. Everybody got their goodies? Okay, I got my ginger. This is zero sugar Snapple tea, half and half lemonade iced tea. And this is really good. Very good. Okay, let's begin. Jill's studio. Deadlines, deadlines, deadlines. I complained to myself because no one was there to listen. Well, at least they're good deadlines. I carefully moved pieces of bisqueware, separating them into sets and individual pieces of artwork. The elation I felt over being chosen for a private showing of my work at a local gallery had given way to anxiety. The weekend was coming fast. In the next few days, I would live in my potter's studio. I remember my college days in art school when I'd hold up in a studio for an entire weekend making pots on the wheel. Fortunately, I had all my pieces thrown, and 2 kilns were in their final glaze firing now. But I had several hundred more vessels on wooden shelves lining the studio walls. They were waiting patiently to be washed, glazed, and fired. I was nearly overcome by fatigue, but I reminded myself that being a freelance potter was my dream come true, so I'd better enjoy it. I poured a cup of hot tea from a delicate teapot. I need caffeine, lots of caffeine. I glanced longingly at my cot, hoping I could spare a few moments for a cat nap later on. What a blessing to have my pieces become so popular. I cradled a small perfume bottle in my hands, admiring her narrow, sleek lines. Thank you, Lord, for your favor on my work as a potter. My studio was first-rate, tucked away in the mountains and surrounded by fir trees. The view never ceased to provide creative inspiration. My potter's wheel sat in front of the large window where the early morning sun flooded in, gently warming my face as I spent tireless hours shaping precious vessels. I'd been working in the studio all of yesterday and most of today, and it was almost midnight. It had rained off and on all day, but suddenly I heard a different sound. I flipped on the outside light to reveal freezing rain and smiled. Let the elements throw me their worst. I'm protected from the weather, and the raging fire in the kilns will keep me warm all night. Mugs and angel wings. A squatty little mug waited on the table to be glazed. He was part of a set with a matching pitcher, and his round, fat belly-like shape made me chuckle. He reminded me of a perpetually disheveled professor I had in college who never seemed to be able to keep his shirt tail tucked in. Holding the mug up to the fluorescent lights, I gently rotated him and admired my handiwork. Okay, mister, let me tell you a little bit about myself. What color do you want to be? Sometimes, as I pray and worship, I catch glimpses of my pieces as finished vessels and know immediately how to proceed. Thanks, Lord. I will do an angel theme on this set. My little mug and his companions will be beautiful with an angel wing painted on their white glazes. The matching picture will have an angel with accents of blue and gold filigree adorning her rim. Sounds beautiful, doesn't it? I picked up a paintbrush and after several careful strokes on the mug, stepped back to get a long view. Only 7 more mugs to paint and then the picture. I studied the little fellow, wondering who would buy him. Where would he end up? What would his destiny be? What if somebody carelessly dropped him on the floor and he broke? Ouch! That was too painful to even think about. Since the Lord gave me the vision of Beloved and her friends in Kedem, the land of earthen vessels, I come to appreciate how jealous God is, our master potter, for all his clay pots. Each one is truly beloved to him. Tending the kiln. The blaring alarm clock told me it was time to check the first kiln. I pulled the plug out of the spy hole in the door and peered into the blazing inferno. The heat radiated on my face even though I stood a foot away. Several white temperature cones were melted, but several were not, indicating the kiln wasn't yet hot enough. Each cone bends at a certain temperature. When all 4 are bent, the kiln can be shut down. The 4 cones in the midst of the swirling flames always remind me of Daniel's 3 friends, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who were thrown into the fiery furnace by Nebuchadnezzar. There, in the blazing inferno, they found a 4th man who looked like the Son of God. These cones always present a comforting reminder that even in the midst of my fiery trials, I am never alone. Bending down, I looked through the bottom spy hole, which gave me a narrow view into the blazing kiln. I could see the outlines of the vessels glowing white hot. It was time to begin the heavy reduction firing, so I pushed in the dampers and cranked up the heat. Taking a few steps back, I avoided the scorching flames shooting out of the spy holes as the pressures transformed the bright fire into a heavy, black carbon dioxide fire. A potter's fascination. I love the raging fire. I've always been fascinated with fire's wild unpredictability. It can provide life-saving warmth, but it's so dangerous it can devastate cities. It's a living substance with a heartbeat and a mind of its own. That's part of what drew me into becoming a potter, my love relationship with this roaring element. Only the fire can bring durability and strength to the clay and melt the glazes. The potter lovingly creates a vessel, but how the pot responds to the fire imprints it forever. This is the most exciting part of the firing process, when the kiln becomes a blazing, smoking inferno. In this violent heat, the intense pressure releases hidden colors and pigments from the clay and glazes. Soft tan clay vessels turn rich chestnut brown, while green carbon dioxide glazes becomes vibrant ruby reds. This is so like our lives. There is a mystery to suffering. The Lord allows the fires of real life to bring great depth and beauty if we allow them. Concentrated, painful fires bring forth the character of the Lord in our lives and help us to complete our destiny. Each firing is so different. Every time I pull open the door to a cooled kiln, I find a tantalizing surprise. What will my pots look like this time? Will the glazes have melted in pleasing patterns? Will the brushstrokes have taken on the beauty depths I intended? Will the iron and the other materials flecking the clay have combined beautifully with the glazes? Everything is so subjective. That's why I love this creative process. It's full of surprises. What beautiful vessels will await me this time? It's just like every believer's journey. None of us knows what the end result is going to be as we go into the fire. That's so true. Chapter 2, Angelic Invasion. I reset the alarm for the kiln and settled on my cot for a catnap. The room was uncomfortably warm. I took one last admiring glance at my squatty little mug with the angel's wings before closing my eyes. In my mind, I still pictured my studio and was thinking about the destinies of my other pots. An unusual glow from the kiln drew my attention as several artistic angels stepped out through the kiln wall and began to speak to the pottery pieces inside. The first angel, wearing iridescent white robes, picks up a large canister and begins to prophesy. You, my friend, have a great destiny in God. He has made you a pastor, and you will be full of the grain of the earth to feed the poor and needy. The magnificent angel carefully paints royal blue and deep purple on the vessel's rich tan base. The second angel is busy painting yellow roses on a white china teapot while singing, Holy, Holy, Holy. Holding the delicate little teapot up to the light, he chuckles and asks, You are quite the little intercessor, aren't you? You will be given maps and strategic keys to open city gates. Teetering between life and death. I jumped when the phone rang. Glancing at my watch, I realized I'd been asleep for over an hour. I was expecting a call from Jen about Carrie's condition following the car accident. Jen was like my sister, and Carrie was almost like my own child. It'd been almost 3 weeks since a drunk driver hit them. Jen was distraught. Through her sobs, I understood that the doctors wanted her to make a decision regarding life support. After weeping for the longest time, she gained some composure and let me have it with both barrels. If your God is really good, Carrie won't die. You told me before she was born that she had a special purpose and destiny from God. What's her special purpose now? To donate her organs so other kids can live? How can I trust a God who would let this happen? Jen, I don't want to hear about your God unless he heals my daughter. I don't know if he even exists. My baby is hooked up to tubes and wires that breathe for her. Jen dissolved into hysterical crying once again. Each sob was a sword plunging into my heart. I could barely get my breath. I wanted to defend God's goodness even in the midst of her pain, anger, and sorrow, but I knew I just needed to listen. In the midst of Jen's accusations, I thought I heard the Lord's gentle voice whisper to me, She will live and not die. Was that you, Lord? Immediately, an attacking voice came to snatch away the promise. That's just wishful thinking. You need to face the truth. She's going to die. I don't have enough courage to tell Jen that I thought I heard the Lord say Carrie would be healed. I wasn't sure myself. All I could do was cry with her and beg her to put off making the decision to disconnect the life support equipment. When she had finished venting, I made her promise to try and get some sleep. I gave her my word that I'd pray for Carrie throughout the night. I felt like I was spinning out of control on the potter's wheel. I couldn't imagine what Jen was experiencing. Watchman on the wall. I was drawn to the window by the sound of howling winds. The freezing rain had been replaced by snow. Staring into the storm, my eyes did not focus on anything but the darkness. Wild flakes whipped this way and that, buffeted at the mercy of the wind. Between monitoring the kilns and praying for Jen and Carrie, I guess I'd be a watchman on the wall tonight, just like you, Lord. You always intercede for your vessels, especially when they are in the fire. Hot tears filled my eyes and splashed down my cheeks. I walked back to the table and picked up my paintbrush in my trembling hand. I sighed. It's going to be a long night, and I'm exhausted going into this marathon. I tried to paint angel wings on my next little mug as I interceded for Jen and Carrie. In seconds, my sobbing caused my hand to jerk several times, and it became obvious that I couldn't do detailed work. I washed my paintbrushes in the sink and turning abruptly, I bumped into a graceful vase and sent it tumbling to the floor where it shattered. That lovely piece was going to be prominently displayed at the show. I had no plans for her. That lovely piece was going to be prominently displayed at the show. I'd had special plans for her. Certain vessels are showpieces, one-of-a-kind treasures. I love them so much that I priced them way too high, hoping to bring them back home with me. I stared blankly at the shards around my feet, grieving for the loss of the beautiful vase. That's it. I'm worthless. I'm doing more harm than good. The dark night of the soul. The alarm sounded for the second kiln. I peeked into the spy hole. This inferno had a cooler red and orange flame licking and dancing and embracing the vessels. This huge kiln had about 7 more hours to go and wouldn't move into the reduction fire until early morning. I turned up the heat and adjusted the dampers. Wiping sweat from my brow and tears from my eyes, I moved back to the first kiln and pulled out the spy holes. The final indicator cone showed me the temperature was balancing out. Turning up the heat even higher, I continued to push in the dampers to intensify the pressure of the fire on the vessels, subjecting them to a smoking, billowing inferno of flames. In this crucial phase, black smoke and raging fires try to escape through every nook and cranny. This time of intense pressure brings out the richest colors from the clay and glazes. I always equate this stage to the suffering believers endure. I set the alarm clock for yet another hour and turned off the studio lights. The glow of the kilns provided enough light to see. Making my way to the corner, I collapsed on my cot, physically and emotionally exhausted. Lord, that's exactly what Jen and Carrie are going through. They're in a terrible fire and can't even see you in the midst of it. The enemy is trying to steal Carrie's destiny. Spiritual warfare. I tried to focus on my prayers, but eerie pictures of Carrie's broken little weak body assaulted my mind. I've never known such agony as I lay sobbing on my cot. I clutched my pillow in a strangled grip. I break the enemy's power over her, Lord. I call forth life and come against the spirit of death. Lord, send your healing power. The room was sweltering, but I was too tired to get up and crack the window. Every time I closed my eyes, I'd see the car wreck over and over. I fought to keep my eyes open, but I was just too tired. Each time it played in my mind, I could hear little Carrie's screams over the screeching tires, twisting metal, and shattering glass. I kept trying to shake off the images of the paramedics pulling Jen and Carrie from the wreck. Evil voices bombarded my mind. She's going to die. God won't rescue her. What about the great destiny you prophesied over her? Lord, help. I rebuke the enemy's lies. She will live and not die. Praying and travailing for what seemed like an hour, I tossed restlessly on the cot. I checked my watch. 10 minutes had passed. I tried to refocus, but I couldn't stop the enemy's voices or those haunting images of the wreck. I dozed fitfully, but found no relief. I've never known torment like this. My dreams were filled with pictures of demons laughing and blaspheming as they pulled the plug on Carrie's life support machines. Once my own screaming voice woke me up. Bolting upright, the only sounds I could hear were the roar of the kilns and the wind howling outside. I felt like my studio was a big kiln and I was in the high fires. I choose to love you, Lord, no matter what, but please, please don't allow her to die. Who will fulfill her destiny? I thrashed on my cot, trying to throw off an increasingly claustrophobic feeling. Sweat trickled into my eyes and burning them. I clamped my hands over my ears and cried out, Jesus, help me. Transported. In seconds, the spiritual atmosphere changed. I was engulfed in a heavy mist of radiant glory. I rolled over and was hit by a blinding glow radiating from a huge warrior angel. His sword was drawn and pointing toward the heavens. His mere presence cleared the room of the demonic. Earthly trappings faded and the spirit realm emerged. As I pushed myself up onto my elbows, a swirling, churning portal saturated with iridescent particles of light appeared. Magnificent angels descended. The room was alive with the presence of heaven. The angel motioned at me with his gleaming sword and pointed upward. The minute I stood up, I was transported into a swirling portal. This is strange, I thought. My anxieties are gone, and I feel totally safe, enveloped in a celestial cocoon. Wispy, ethereal hues, colors I've never seen on any artist's palette, danced around me. Fiery flames mixed with flecks of glimmering light spun rapidly as far as I could see them in the night sky. I couldn't tell how long it took to get through the portal. It was as though time had stood still. When it faded, I was standing in what appeared like an enormous chamber lit by kerosene lamps. I heard a sound and turned. Artistic angels were busy carrying huge bundles of kindling and placing it outside a firebox. Then I realized I was standing in front of a huge kiln. I've never seen one so massive. It was incredible. It was an entire mountain hollowed out and filled with bellowing flames. Master Potter was there with his simple brown robes. His rugged features and olive skin were exactly as I remembered. When his warm, tender eyes met mine, I was flooded with an unconditional love toward his vessels. I was feeling what he was feeling. This will be the high fire, the last step in a long process to be a vessel of honor. Here, all their dross and their impurities will be removed. He motioned for me to look inside the kiln with all the excitement of a kid on Christmas morning. I waited so long to see their destinies come forth. He smiled as he spoke. They will be my warrior brides. They will wreak havoc on the enemy's kingdom. As my eyes adjusted to the darkness of the soot-covered room, I could see rows and rows of shelves from floor to ceiling containing about 1,000 glazed vessels ready for the high fires. As I scanned the shelves, I saw pots I recognized. "There's golden incense," I said, "the little intercessory teapot. And look, 3 shelves above her is Beloved." Okay. Monday, when I come back, we will read chapter 3, Mountains of Fire. It's a pretty long chapter, and maybe chapter 5, we'll see. Each chapter is about 4 or 5 pages, I think. All right, well, that is something. Okay, so we did the recap from book 1, and then about Jill's studio, where she was putting the vessels in and kind of walking us through the process of what people that work with earthenware do, how they prepare it to take it from that green earthenware to get it to where it needs to go into the highest of fires to finally have the outcome and the colors that it needs to be. And I was always amazed the little time I was in ceramics of how beautiful some of those pieces came out of the kiln. Like, the colors could be glazed and shiny, or they could have a matte finish on them. And I was never a painter. I never painted really well, but some people, they really did nice artwork on the earthen vessels. They drew those angel wings and little flowers and all that kind of stuff. I really want to continue on, but I'm gonna stop here. You all have a blessed day in the Lord. It was great visiting with you for a little bit again today. You take care. You have a really, really nice weekend. I don't think we're doing too much. We're kind of homebodies. I may have to run out to the grocery store a little bit, but that's about it. I'm trying to stay inside and warm and away from people so I don't get the flu again. Oh, my goodness. All right, everyone, you take care. You have a blessed day in the Lord, and Lord willing, I will be back on Monday. If I'm not feeling too bad, I may pop in tomorrow. Who knows? All right, take care. Bye-bye.